read the other one?
Either one of us, whenever you're ready,
Okay.
we can.
All right.
Any of us
I'll
can jump
start.
in.
Okay, guys, so listen to this, and I'm going to ask you a few questions when I'm done. All right, listen to this paragraph that I'm about to read. Sunset is the time of day when our sky meets the outer space solar winds. There are blue, pink, and purple swirls spinning and twisting like clouds of balloons caught in a whirlwind. The sun moves slowly to hide behind the line of horizon, while the moon races to take its place in prominence atop the night sky. People slow to a crawl, entranced, fully forgetting the deeds that must be done. There is a coolness, a calmness when the sun does set. All right, guys, so question one. All right, what was I talking about in that paragraph just now?
Okay, so Ashley says sunset. DeAndre says the sun. Mm-hmm. Alicia says the moon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now, good. All right, so next question. What happened to you as I read that? What was going on in your minds if something was happening, I mean, what was going on in your head as I read that? Did anything happen while you listened?
Alicia says that she was picturing it in her mind. Tyroning said that they could picture it. Leah says she imagined how it looked. Chloe says she was imagining it. Morano says he imagined the image of the sunset.
Okay, good. All right. So therefore, guys, what type of writing would you call, do you think that paragraph used, the writer of that paragraph used, which type of writing would we say that, identify that as? All right.
Okay, Aaliyah says descriptive. Chloe says descriptive. Deborah is saying that, the writer used imagery. Angel says creative.
Okay. Good job, guys. All right. So yes, it's descriptive writing. Also, yes, it is a form of imagery. All right. Can anyone remember some of the descriptive words that I used? If you can remember anything.
Leah said the colors.
Mm.
I also said beauty. Ashley says beautiful.
Okay, yes, I definitely did mention colors. I mentioned blue, pink, and purple. All right. Okay. What did I say? I said, let's just listen to the second sentence here and tell me what other descriptive thing is in there. There are blue, pink, and purple swirls spinning and twisting like clouds of balloons caught in a whirlwind.
Shad says personification.
Mm. Okay. Well, yes, definitely some figurative language is used there, and figurative language can be very helpful in when you're attempting to be descriptive. Okay. So yes, that paragraph was definitely descriptive, and I'm glad that you guys saw the personification in there. All right. Um,
Okay, so do you want to read the next one?
Yes, please.
Okay, so listen carefully as I read the next passage, please. It was July 21st, 1969, and Neil Armstrong awoke with a start. It was the day he would become the first human being to ever walk on the moon. The journey had begun several days earlier, when on July 16th, the Apollo 11 headed into outer space. On board with Neil Armstrong were Michael Collins and Buzz Aldrin. The crew landed on the moon in the Sea of Tranquility a day before the actual walk. Upon Neil's first step onto the moon's surface, he declared, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." It sure was.
All right, guys. Mrs. Toot, thank you. Now, what would you say the type of what would you say the type of writing present in that paragraph is? What type of writing is present in that paragraph that Mrs. Toot just read? What did the paragraph do? Okay, Ashley, good. It's informative. Anyone else?
Someone's saying expository. Anything else?
Now, the saxophone.
Okay. All right, good. Mrs. Toot, Mrs. Dennis, would you agree that it was informative?
No, it's not. What I'm saying is the saxophone is.
It was, but
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 it was
yeah,
quite informative.
it was. But what did it tell?
Deborah is saying narrative.
Because this actually happened, right? Now, I'm not talking about for those of you who talk about the moon landing was faked and all that. I'm talking about those of us that believe it's true. But if you believe it's, well, I prescribe to the side that, says it actually happened. All right? So that tells us this is what? Yes, it is fact. And so what Mrs. Toot read was but what type of writing was used?
Deborah, what did you say?
Okay. And Dara said narrative.
Narrative.
And yes, it actually was the paragraph about Neil Armstrong on the moon was narrative. It was simply retelling, all right, the first moon landing and the fact because it talks about Neil Armstrong waking up and like there's not I mean it's informative, but there is not I wouldn't say it's expository. There's no explanation, right? It's simply saying what happened, all right, in a sequential and chronological order. Like he did this. He walked on the surface of the moon and said, "This is a small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." So it was actually more narrative than anything else. But yes, it definitely was information in there that was factual. But it wasn't expository. No. All right, so let's keep going. Okay. So this is our topic. All right, we're on slide 2. All right, back to basics, types of writing. All right, types of writing. Okay, but I think a lot of you already knew that's where we were headed with this. All right, because you're the bright stars, you know what's happening. Okay, so these are objectives. All right, you, the students, will be able to 1, explain the purpose of each type of writing. 2, point out the elements of various types of writing. And 3, differentiate between the 4 types of writing. Now, let me be honest with you, grade 12. We're not meeting all these objectives today. I can tell you that. Okay, but you know we're just getting a start. All right. So can anyone? We already identified two types of writing. What were the two types of writing we identified just a few minutes ago?
So some of them are saying narrative and descriptive, and they're saying expository.
Okay. Yes, we looked at descriptive and narrative writing so far. So there are actually how many types of writing are there based on what you guys remember? How many? We already looked at two. How many are left? For a total of what? How much? Okay. All right. Deborah said 4. Stevette said descriptive. DeAndre said 3. All right. Colin said 4. 2. All right. Aaliyah says I only remember 4. All right, Mrs. Dennis. Who do you think has it?
Aaliyah, Roosevelt, Angel, Beyonce, majority of them 4.
Okay, great. Okay, yes, there are 4. All right, and I think Stevette mentioned, and Jamie. Jamie mentioned persuasive. Okay, so that leaves us with one more that hasn't been identified yet. We identified descriptive. We identified narrative. We looked 4 have already been mentioned in the chat. To be honest. All right, so we looked at narrative, descriptive, persuasive has been mentioned, and what else? What else is left? What's the last one? All right, thank you, Aaliyah. Aaliyah says narrative, descriptive, expository, and persuasive / argumentative writing. Yes, those are the 4 modes of writing when it comes to essays for sure. Papers, okay? All right, now, boom, here we go. Narration, description, exposition, and persuasion. All right? 4. Good job, guys. All right? So each type of writing has its own purpose. All right? All right. What is the purpose of a narrative piece? What purpose does a narrative essay serve? What is it supposed to do?
So they're saying tell a story. Chloe, tell a story. Aaliyah, Phoenicia, tell a story. A narrative essay tells a story. Deborah. Okay. So everyone is saying tell a story. Jawan, okay, good job, students.
Okay.
Tell a story.
Good,
Okay.
good. All right, we can move on then. All right. We can move on. Yeah. So narrative essays tell a story for sure. Okay. Now there's some overlapping in writing in grade 12. This is very important. When it comes to your narrative, it's in particular, the narrative is probably the most difficult mode of writing to do right. To do it, if you want to do it properly, if you want to have a very good narrative essay or a good narrative essay, and you want to do it well, there's a lot of overlapping in narrative writing, and there's a lot to consider. For example, when you write a narrative essay, there should be some description in there. The entire essay shouldn't be like you describing your car, the car you're going to use to pick up your girlfriend to go to this party.
Yes, I agree.
Right. If you spend 3 paragraphs talking about how fresh your car was and the color and how many cylinders it has and the fact that it has an automatic transmission and the how the leather seats feel on your body, and if you're doing all that, when are you going to get to the story? But your narrative essay has to have some description, but you have to sprinkle the description in there. How many of you know the salty? How many of you know the salty bay meme? Many of you remember that meme from a few years ago that used to be everywhere, the salty bay meme. Okay.
Okay, she just straight up say nope. They say no.
Right, it's that.
Okay. Once I send this, they'll remember it, unless they just lying straight up. Okay, that was the name. Maybe you guys didn't know it exactly. It is iconic. Oh, I got
Yes.
you. You just probably didn't notice that by that name. Okay, but right. So you see what he's doing? He's just sprinkling just a dash of salt, right? He's not going crazy with the. So when it comes to the narrative essay, you have to have balance. There has to be some description in there. You should have some dialogue. It can't be all dialogue, right? It can't be all exposition, right? You have to balance it. Okay, it takes a steady hand. All right. Okay, so there and persuasive writing, there's some exposition, there's some explanation, because if you are trying to persuade me, right, Mrs. Dennis and Mrs. Toot, if you're trying to persuade me or argue something, should you not would you not have to explain some things that I may not understand?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
You
yeah,
have to.
absolutely. Okay. All right. But in most writing, one of the elements clearly dominates. So if you're writing a narrative, if you're writing an essay and it's narrative, the story is the focus. It's driven by the story. If you're writing an expository essay, it's driven by explanation. If you're writing a descriptive essay, it's driven by description. You're not really telling a story with a descriptive essay. You're showing. Okay, you're not
Yeah.
telling, you're showing, you're recreating an experience with a descriptive essay of an event. You're not necessarily talking about what happened at the event, going into detail, like developing a plot and all of that. You're not doing that. All right. So remember that whatever essay you choose, other elements from other type modes of writing should be included. Just you have to balance how much you put in each one. Okay. What? What is that? Mrs. Dennis, this was on the slide before, the Lucky Charms thing.
Pardon me?
This Lucky Charms thing was on the slide the whole time, like when you did it as well, when you used it.
Where?
You don't see the.
Oh yeah, it was there. You didn't see it?
I
Yeah.
didn't. No, I didn't see that. That looks disgusting. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so all right, narration. Let's talk some more about narration. Now, grade 12. I'll be honest with you. We may not get beyond this morning, but that's okay because there's a lot to discuss. Now, grade
Yes,
12.
yes.
You tell me what you know about narrative writing, about narration. What are some of the elements or some of the things, the techniques that you must include when you're writing a narrative, when you're writing a story? No, I love Lucky Charms, not just not like how it was displayed on the screen.
Okay, so DeAndre is saying keywords, Ashley is saying descriptive words, transitional words, Aaliyah is saying plot, Deshonda and theme. Deshonda is saying, all right.
Okay, so yeah, I see description, I see transitional words, yeah, I see point of view, yes.
Yes, definitely point of
Actually,
view.
yeah, and I think that's something we haven't discussed yet, really.
That is true.
Point of view is very important in narratives, in narrative writing, or in stories, right? What else? Anything else other than
Tyreek is
Tyrone?
saying
Thank you.
conflict.
Yes, conflict. Definitely.
Anything else? Any other
Not
elements?
not a real story without conflict. There has to be
Sorry.
some conflict, something. Okay?
Deshaun said setting. All
Yes.
right.
Where does the story take place? You have to determine that before you write it. Okay? It has to have a setting. It has to have a conflict. Okay? What else? What else must the narrative have? You can't, like, it has to have this. Has to have this.
Aaliyah said characters.
Yes, but it's bigger than the characters.
Characterization. Okay.
Yes, characterization, definitely. Not solution.
Oh, Alicia. All right.
All right,
Plot.
thank you.
Alicia said plot.
All right, Alicia. the clutch shooter. Okay, she made that shot in the clutch. Right, plot. All right, Cameron, thank you. Plot. Okay. So yeah, you have to have a plot because why do you have characters? Why do you have a setting if you have no plot? What are you doing with the characters that you have? Okay. So narration is the type of composition in which the writer relates an incident, an episode, a series of episodes, a person's life, or a story of the past, usually in chronological order, but not always, right, guys? Because there are different ways you can start a narrative essay. Anyone know a way that's not in chronological order that you can begin a narrative essay or like have near the beginning? What technique do we call? What technique can we use? What's it called?
I know, but I think you guys should know. Aaliyah saying flashback.
Boom. There we go. Anyone else? Anyone else? Oh, I like that one though,
Jamie
Jamie.
foreshadowing.
All right.
Yes.
Definitely that is one of the big ones for shadowing. But I was getting a flashback. All right, but all of the answers are I'm loving the answers that I'm seeing, asking a question, telling a short story before you get into the big story, your main story, flashback, foreshadowing. Okay. But yeah, I was getting at flashback. But usually the story should be told in chronological order. Like this happened first, that happened, and then this led to that. Because that's how things usually happen
Yeah.
in real life, right? Like you're driving, you're on your phone, you're not paying attention, you bump into the back of someone's car, you look up, turns out it's a police car, and you realize that, oh, okay, I'm done. All
But then
right.
even so, sorry, Mr. Joaquin, but even so, even if you're using flashback or foreshadowing, you have to make sure that you're using it correct. When
Yeah.
you're actually using, if you're starting the story that way,
Mm-hmm.
you have to
Yeah.
make sure that you're point on when you're using it.
Yes, you definitely have to. Okay. All right. So yeah, we know that narratives tell stories. Okay. Elements of a narrative. Okay. Let's look at the basic elements here. All right. Characters. You guys mentioned that already. All right. You guys need to be teaching the class, not me, because you all are on point today. I love it. We love it. Okay. Setting. Yes. Okay. And we know what characters are. We know what setting is. All right. Plot. We already established that. Okay. Conflict. That was already mentioned. Resolution. All right. Now that was the only one, but someone was so close to it. They just missed like two letters. All right, someone mentioned solution. And in a way, resolution is related to solution. Comes from
Yeah.
the comes from solution, so you were very close. Okay? Um yes. Okay? So good job all of you. And there's some other things that you should include, techniques like dialogue, description, um figurative language all help to enhance your story when you write it. Okay? All right, so let's look at characters. Let's talk about characters for a minute. Okay, guys, what are characters? What are characters in a story? What are they? What purpose do they serve? Like, who even cares, right? I'll tell you cares. I care. Mrs. Toot cares. Mrs. Dennis cares. We all care. All right.
So Alicia said the main part.
I need a little more elaboration there.
Yeah,
I
a little
need,
more. Yeah. So they're saying people or animals that carries out the story. People, animals in the story. Characters is the person that make up the story. Person, animals in a story.
all right. Okay. Ashley says helps you to portray a story better. Persons in a story, they play a role. Okay, Gracious, I like your answer as well. Persons are animals in the story because characters are not limited to people, right? Even animals can be characters. Can anyone give me some animals who are characters in movies or books or plays or TV shows, video games? All right, where you have animals as characters. Dogs, yes. And guess what? Even if it's a regular dog, because
Yes.
we know Scooby Doo is not a normal dog because he talks better than a lot of
Yes.
people, right? I can
Definitely.
understand him better than some people. So you can have like an actual animal that can talk, that functions like a normal animal, but that animal can be a character. Like for example, what's the name of that movie? Marley and Me, with the dog, the golden retriever. He was a character in that movie, even though he was an actual dog that couldn't talk and walk like a normal human and drive cars and drink lattes and all that stuff. But he was a character, and even objects can be characters. Can any of you
Yeah.
think of a movie or a show or a book where an object, a thing that's not actually normally alive in the real world, was a character?
Yes. In Beethoven, the dogs
Oh
were
yeah, yeah,
main
Beethoven. I
characters.
forgot about Beethoven. Yeah. Okay. Denasia, good. Beauty and the Beast, Harry Potter. Okay, Olaf and right, Olaf and Frosty
Fun.
are because they're made
Yes,
of snow. They're
that's
snowmen. They're not
true.
real, right? Um, yeah, sponges.
Zootopia. Yes.
Yeah, sponges are alive, but yeah, not they're not self-aware like SpongeBob. No. Okay.
Charlotte's Web. Yes.
All right. Okay, but yes, in Beauty and the Beast, they had talking teapots and teacups and clocks and wardrobes that could
That's
talk, and they're not, come on now, we know those things aren't possible in real life. Okay, they wouldn't have intelligence and emotions and like we do, or like even like animals do. All right, so yes, characters. All right, a character is a person, animal, or creature in a story. Writers use characters to perform actions and speak dialogue, moving the story along a plot line. So in order for your story to move forward, you need characters, right? Someone has to be doing something, right? In order for the story to move ahead. And we have Superman, he's a fictional character. We have the T-Rex from Toy Story, and we have anyone know who this is? This thing at the bottom here. Anyone familiar with that?
man. They should have. Those answers should have come in a long time.
Ah, okay.
Ursula.
Yes,
Yes.
Ursula. Okay, all fictional characters. Yes. All right. And they all help to move the plot along in some way or form. They serve some purpose to the plot. Okay? Setting. Now we know setting is the place and time, not just place, but also the time where your story or a story is set. Okay? It's the time and geographic location within a narrative. All right? We know that. Okay, so New York City, 2020, Nassau, Bahamas, 2500 AD. Okay, London, England, 1400. Okay, a lot of people die because of plot. I mean, like when people plot on them, that's what you're talking about, or like, what do you mean? Okay, so yeah. All right, so we have places here. I think we have New York, we have Paris. Um, okay, 1920s, long time ago, 100 years ago. Okay, so yeah, that's the setting, and the setting is important because your setting should be interesting. All right, give your setting some character. Like you could have a setting, you have a story where their character's trapped in a safe in a big bank vault or something, or
Yep.
on an island. It could be in a mansion, a spooky mansion. It could be in a in a desert. There settings. There's no limit really. It could be a virtual reality, right? No real limit to setting as far as your imagination goes. Okay. All right. So let's talk about plot. Okay. Anybody know the parts of the plot? Parts of the plot, because we know what plot is. What is plot?
No, not like when you're plotting on someone. What is a plot in the story?
I mean, it is a plan, but not to do something harmful. All
Yeah,
right.
not
Jamie
harm
says
someone.
the
So it's
events
the
in the
events in
story.
the story. Mm-hmm.
Yes, the events. What happens in the story? So, what are the parts of the plot? Does anyone remember? Remember that little plot diagram from junior high? Right? It
Yeah,
looked like a little. It almost looked like a little hat.
like
It had
yeah,
like a witch's hat. Like it had a little flat part, then a triangle, and then the triangle, and then another flat part.
almost
Okay.
like a mountain style too.
Yes. Yes, like a mountain, Mrs. Stu. That's an even Mrs. Dennis. That's an even better analogy. All right. So we have falling action, climax, rising action,
Someone said resolution.
resolution, falling action. Okay. Yes. All right, you guys. Good. You guys are remembering very good. Very proud of you guys. Good stuff. All right. So yeah, exposition.
Yes, that's the
Good,
first part, eh?
Martin. That's the first one, right?
That's right.
Gravity Falls. You,
Seriously,
Angel,
Angel?
Angel, you okay? You okay? All right. Um. All right. No, but Gravity Falls was a good show. All right. In a narrative, a plot is a sequence of events that make up a story. Okay. All right. In a narrative, a plot is a sequence of events that make up a story. Okay. And we have over here, I think we have the okay. We don't have the diagram yet, but event one leads to event two, which leads to event three, okay? And so on and so forth. So let's talk about conflict, okay? Oh, I get it, Angel. Yes, I understand why. The thing with the, I forget, the little triangle man with the eye. Benji or something like that. All right. Okay, so conflict. All right. Ooh, I should have asked you guys that, but I see you guys are putting the answers in. Great. Okay. In works of narration, conflict is the problem or challenge that characters need to solve. Right. Can you guys think of types of conflict? What are some types of conflict that you guys remember? Because I know you guys came, a lot of you came from the great T.A. Thompson, the great H.O. Nash, the great A.F. Adley, the great C.H. Reeves.
That's
And I know
right.
you have great teachers that taught you this. All right. Man to man, yes.
Yes,
Man versus
character versus
self.
character, same thing. Man versus nature. Man
Yeah,
versus self. Good job,
right.
student.
Man and
Man versus
society. Look at you
society.
all. Look at you guys. Right. Person versus nature.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So yes, guys. Now every story has to have a conflict. Now that could be as simple as Barney helping someone look for their lost blanket. That's conflict,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Or it could be as major as Thanos, as the Avengers trying to stop Thanos, right? That's conflict. Okay, it's a problem that needs to be solved. It's a challenge that must be overcome. Even the object, like someone said, it could be nature, like someone who wants, like their father was tried to climb Mount Everest, but he died, so they wanted to succeed where their father failed. That's conflict. Okay, it could be you trying to decide between, all right, should I buy the PS5 or the Xbox Series X? And let me tell you right now, if you go with the Xbox Series X, you're wrong. You're just wrong. You're wrong. Don't talk to me. Don't say anymore. That's it. Okay?
Oh Lord.
Okay. So let's keep going. Okay? So yes. Resolution. Okay? The resolution is the part of the story where the problem or conflict is resolved or worked out. Okay? All right, guys. Can you guys think of any stories like that, or any movies or TV shows or books you read that had a clear resolution where the conflict was solved, the enemy was beaten, or whatever?
So someone said Cinderella. Endgame. Morano said. Someone said
Yes,
Cinderella.
Morano, that's a good one. Endgame. Bring
Bring
it
it
on.
on. The Reckoning.
Ready Player
Um,
One. Okay.
I didn't even
So
know that was.
yes, resolution is where you wrap the story. Like everything has ended, like the falling action has concluded. All right, now you're moving to like wrapping it up. The hero saves the day. The villain is destroyed or arrested or whatever. Okay, but do stories always, Mrs. Dennis? Do stories always have a clean resolution or ending?
No, no, it doesn't have to have one. And we've seen that a lot in some movies, even books that we've read.
Yes. All right. Yeah, so sometimes even things end and they don't have satisfying resolutions. Like they resolutions um tend to deal with all the loose ends, right? There's a they I mean in theory they should, but a lot of times writers don't always do that. Like they leave things for you to figure out on your own, or they want you to fill in the blanks. They don't want to
Yeah,
like wrap everything up for you in a nice pretty box and
yeah.
with a nice bow.
They leave like
Yeah,
with some suspense. Yeah,
right. This is the ending. So sometimes they want you to determine how things would go beyond the ending they gave you, right? So sometimes the resolution is very clear. Everything's wrapped up. All right, all the loose ends are taken care of. There are no plot threads left hanging. Everything is cleaned up. But then sometimes there are a lot of unanswered questions. Some people like those types of endings, some
yeah,
don't. Some people they want to be told, well, this is what happened to this character or that character, and some prefer
yeah. I
to
need to know what's going on
they
because
prefer to,
yeah.
come to their own conclusions, and that is also fine. Okay, guys, so we will stop here. Okay. All right. Now, guys, keep in mind with the plot. All right, we have exposition, we have conflict, we have rising action, we have climax. We didn't really talk about climax too much. All right. So, what is climax? What is the climax of a story? Okay, the peak, the best part. Okay. Yes. All right. That's the climax is the most exciting part of the story, and anything after that is the story wrapping up. So it could be the big battle. Okay, like in Endgame. Anyone remember the climax in Endgame? What was the climax in Endgame?
I remember. I remember.
Yeah, yeah, man. I remember. I remember. Let's see who's a real fan. Guys, I'm also
I
putting in
swear.
the attendance form for grade 12.
Yeah, I'll put it in a few minutes.
Oh, you guys didn't watch Endgame? Well, I guess they're gonna spoil it for you then. Sorry.
Oh gosh. You don't know what you're missing. Mm.
Okay.
Oh, you put it in Mr. Walking? Okay.
Yeah, the guys, that's the attendance link. Make sure that you click that and fill that out. Yes, Aaliyah, when all the heroes came together and Captain
Yes.
America said Avengers Assemble for the first time. All right. And yeah, so that was the climax, right? All right. So, okay, guys, so we will stop here for today. Thank you for your participation. Did anyone learn anything new today? Anyone learn something new today or okay, what did you learn? If you learned something new today, just share it.
Yeah, Leah, that was part of it too, Leah. I agree. Mr. Walking and Leah say when Captain America held Thor hammer.
Yes. That was definitely a part of the climax, yeah. Shante, we will straighten that out, okay? Don't worry. Mrs. Dennis, Mrs. Toot, and Mr. Walking will not leave you guys high and dry come when it comes to the end of the term. I I give you